It's time for the news here on Luntha television, and you're with me, Fales Chizombe. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges legislators to ensure artificial intelligence protects human rights and dignity. Namiwa granted bail as High Court sets September 8th for commencement of full trial. Human Rights Consultative Committee brass abuse of property seizure laws cause for review. And in our special report this week, Gift Kalonga examines the cause of recent rise in maize prices, its impact on consumers and traders, and measures stakeholders suggest should be taken to achieve long-term stability. We have the details to these stories and more. Do stay with us. Pope Leo XIV has urged legislators to ensure that artificial intelligence protects human rights and dignity, warning that AI must never be allowed to erode the family, which he described as the first school of humanity. Addressing the International Catholic Legislators Network in the Vatican on Friday, the Pope said sound legislation should encourage scientific and technological creativity while safeguarding fundamental rights and freedoms. He called for laws that protect users from exploitation, preserve privacy, promote transparency, and ensure that emerging technologies strengthen democratic institutions. Tandem Zmara reading the Vatican News Report.
Pope Leo said robust legal frameworks, independent oversight, informed users, and responsible political systems are needed to ensure that AI develops in a way that serves society. He also warned that the rapid development of AI could create new forms of technological dependence, particularly for poorer nations that increasingly rely on wealthier countries. The Pope cautioned against innovation becoming a vehicle for ideological or economic colonialism, warning that algorithms and digital platforms could influence who is seen and who remains invisible, while reducing workers to mere components of technological systems. Against what he described as a culture of power and domination, Pope Leo said the Church proposes a civilization of love, with the family serving as the first school of humanity. He said families are where people first learn trust, generosity, dialogue, and love, and warned that artificial intelligence must not undermine these relationships by reducing people to data and simulations or exposing young minds to harmful content. Pope Leo therefore encouraged legislators to promote policies that strengthen marriage and families, support parents in raising and educating their children, and give young people confidence in the future. The Pope concluded that only then can artificial intelligence become not a rival to humanity, but a servant of the common good.
Bishop of the Diocese of Kalonga, His Lordship Martin Ntumbuka, has urged parishes to give greater attention to the education of children, saying they should only be valued for dancing and singing during liturgy. Bishop Ntumbuka made this call during confirmation mass on Thursday at St. Anne's Parish, Chilomba, in the Diocese of Kalonga, where more than 80 Christians have received the sacrament of confirmation. Adams Mwenerupembe has more in this report.
Bishop Ntumbuka said the confirmation mass is part of an ongoing program of confirming Christians, and the diocese is pleased to see a growing number of young people receiving the sacrament alongside converts and other Christians who have joined the church. The bishop also drew attention to another important area affecting young people education, saying children should not only be valued for their participation in dancing and singing during liturgy, but also be supported to pursue their education.
The most important thing I wanted was to thank and congratulate the girls that we selected yesterday. We are very grateful and we wish them well. We also ask the parents to make sure that they have got their fees and that they don't drop out of our school. But also I would like to encourage the parishes to make sure that the children are not just valued when they are dancing and singing in our churches, but they should also be educated. And so I want to thank the teachers, the parents, the priests who have helped them, the ones that we selected yesterday.
Bishop Mtumbuka has since pledged that the diocese will continue doing everything possible to provide more opportunities for secondary school in the Diocese of Karonga. Reporting for Luntha Television in Karonga, this is Adams Mwenelupembe.
The High Court in Lilongwe has granted bail to Center for Democratic and Economic Development Initiative Executive Director Sylvester Namiwa, who is answering charges of treason and publication of false news, likely to cause alarm to the public, with his full trial set to commence on September 8, 2026. Delivering his ruling on Friday, High Court Judge Mzondimvula granted Namiwa bail on several conditions, including a 5 million kwacha cash bond and 2 sureties bonded at 10 million kwacha each on a non-cash basis. Charity Chilanga has filed this report.
The High Court in Lilongwe on Friday granted bail to seated Executive Director Sylvester Namiwa, who is facing 2 charges of treason and publication of false news, likely to cause alarm to the public. In granting bail, Judge Mvula ordered Namiwa to enter into a 5 million kwacha cash bond with government and provide 2 reliable sureties, each bonded at 10 million kwacha on a non-cash basis. The court has also barred Namiwa from commenting directly or indirectly on matters relating to the case and ordered him not to conduct press conferences touching on the matter until the case is concluded. The court further ordered Namiwa to report to Area 30 Police Headquarters every Monday, continue residing at his home in Kaperi, surrender his passport to the court registry, and provide a photocopy of his national ID to the police. However, the court has indicated that Namiwa may apply for permission to travel if the need arises. In an interview with Luntha Television, Namiwa's lead defense counsel, Gift Mwenye, welcomed the court's decision to grant his client bail.
We are grateful the court has granted Mr. Namiwa bail. Apart from that, we have to read the whole order in totality because it's a long document, so we don't want to commit and make comments when we have not read it again.
Namiwa was arrested on July 30th following statements he allegedly made prior to his arrest. He is currently answering charges of treason and publication of false news likely to cause alarm to the public. Meanwhile, the High Court has set September 8th, 2026 as the date for the commencement of the full trial in the matter.
The Human Rights Consultative Committee has called on government to review the law used to seize property suspected to have been acquired through theft and fraud, alleging that authorities are applying it selectively. Speaking at a press conference in Lilongwe on Friday, HRCC officials led by Robert Nkwezalamba said the whereabouts of confiscated property are often known, while some officials allegedly sell cases before they are concluded. Emmanuel Chocha has filed this report.
Nkwezalamba cited cases involving the seizure of land, motorcycle taxis, and businesses in the city, which it claims are sometimes conducted without following proper legal procedures. HRCC has called for the laws used by the government agencies, including councils and the Ministry of Lands, to be consolidated into a single, clear legal framework governing property confiscation. He said Malawi is a country governed by the law of law, hence the need to review the existing laws to ensure they adequately protect everyone and are applied fairly and without discrimination.
The more critical point is to raise advocacy and awareness on the use of the forfeiture laws in Malawi. We have different pieces of legislation that are speaking to forfeiture acts in Malawi. Unfortunately, they don't speak to each other. Malawians have continued to be victimized and impoverished because of the Forfeiture Act, because to an extent it has been abused. It has been used politically, but also administratively.
HRCC has said it has launched a campaign to engage authorities and raise awareness on the need to review the law. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Chuocha.
You are still watching news on Luntha television. Before we proceed, another look at the headlines. Opoprio the 14th urges legislators to ensure artificial intelligence protects human rights and dignity. Namiwa granted bail as High Court sets September 8th for commencement of full trial. Human Rights Consultative Committee brass abuse of property seizure laws calls for review. And in our special report this week, Gift Kalonga examines the cause of recent rise in maize prices, its impact on consumers and traders, and measures stakeholders suggest should be taken to achieve long-term stability. Moving forward, the Roads Fund Administration has signed a 54 billion kwacha financing agreement with 7 councils across the country for the rehabilitation and improvement of city and municipal roads. The financing agreement, which was signed at the Lilongwe City Council offices on Friday, is expected to help address funding gaps affecting road infrastructure development in the country's urban centers. Jacqueline Saidi reports.
According to RFA Board Chairperson Noah Nkuliji, the financing follows the resumption of the automatic fuel pricing mechanism, which provides resources towards road infrastructure development and maintenance. Speaking after the signing, Nkuliji urged the beneficiary councils to ensure that the funds are used strictly for the intended road construction and rehabilitation projects. He said close monitoring of the projects will be necessary to ensure the works meet required standards and deliver value to communities.
So this is a very, very critical mechanism that needs to be in place, and we are hoping that the things that happened before, where the road fund administration never got any penny, will no longer be there. It is very critical that we have this fund, this levy, because with it we are sure that there will be maintenance of our roads going forward.
In his remarks, Chairperson for Malawi Local Government Association, Isaac Jomo Osman, expressed appreciation to government for the financing. He said the allocation will provide much-needed support to councils in addressing challenges facing urban road infrastructure. Osman assured RFA that the beneficiary councils will use the funds prudently for their intended purpose, with emphasis on delivering durable and quality infrastructure. Under the agreement, Luntha and the Lilongwe City councils will each receive 15 billion kwacha, while Mzuzu and Zomba will receive 8 billion each. Mangochi has been allocated 5 billion, Kasungu 2 billion, and Luchenza Municipality 1 billion. For Luntha, this is Jacqueline Saidi.
And in sports, National Bank of Malawi PLC has commended Scorch's strong AFCON performance where they finished run-ups and secured a World Cup place, pledging that the bank will continue backing women's football as the team prepares for the global tournament. Speaking during a Scorch's breakfast at Sunbelt Capital Hotel on Friday, NBM head of marketing Akosan Pebohiwa called for continued investment in support for women's football. Judy Fogan has filed a report read by Emmanuel Chuocha.
In her remarks, Hiwa noted that MBM's partnership with the Scorchers has not only delivered value to the bank, but has also helped uniting Malawians through football, with the team's WAFCON success generating widespread excitement across the country. She said the bank's support goes beyond the Scorchers, as NBM is also investing in the Women's Premiership Under-23 men's football and university sports as part of its commitment to developing football in Malawi. Bite Mpepo Hiwa, NBM's head of marketing.
NBM made a deliberate decision to invest in women's football and become the sponsor of the Scorchers. We also introduced for the first time the Malawi National Women's Tournament, which is known as NBM Women's Premiership. At the time, we believed in the potential of this team, and we also believed in the potential of women's football. We believed that women's football deserved investment, visibility, and the same level of support that we give to other sporting disciplines.
FAM's president, Frit Huraiya, has thanked NBM for believing in the Scorchers before their success, saying the bank's early investment in women's football has contributed to the team's progress and will help FAM plan for the team's upcoming assignments.
But one thing that I want to remind National Bank is that National Bank, in your mission statement, you talk about giving value to your stakeholders. I think in the past 26 years when you listed, I don't know if you have gotten any value like what the Scorchers have given you. For that reason, I'm saying, think again on the value that you are going to give back to these girls. Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, Malawi National Council of Sports acting CEO Ive Chinangwa has praised NBM support, saying the Scorchers' qualification demonstrate the impact of investing in sports talent and appealed for more corporate support as the team prepares for the World Cup.
There is a huge task before us as we will be now preparing for the World Games, for the World Cup in Brazil. So yeah, we are grateful as Malawi National Council of Sports because of the support. Like I said, once again, I would also like to appeal to other sponsors to come forth and possibly pick some of those sport codes that are struggling to get sponsorship.
NBM says it will continue supporting women's football with further plans for its partnership with the Scorchers, expected to be announced as the preparations for the World Cup gather pace.
Maize prices have risen sharply across Malawi in recent weeks, raising concerns among consumers, traders, and policymakers. The increase comes at a time when many households are already struggling with high living costs. Rising maize prices have placed additional pressure on family budgets, particularly among low-income earners who depend on maize as their source of food. The development has also sparked debate over the factors driving the price increases and whether existing interventions are sufficient to stabilize the market. With maize prices playing a significant role in determining inflation, the situation has implications beyond food security and extends to the broader economy. In our special report this week, Gift Kalonga examines the cause of recent rise in maize prices, its impact on consumers and traders, and measures stakeholders suggest should be taken to achieve long-term stability.
From January to July, Malawians enjoyed relatively stable maize prices, bringing a sigh of relief to citizens who had already been hit hard by rising prices of various commodities. However, in recent months, particularly the past few weeks, the country has experienced a sudden rise in maize prices across the country. One of the maize traders at Mbayan Market in Luntha, Maria Chisare, said they are selling a bucket of maize at 5,500 kwacha and a bag at 55,000 kwacha. She said the maize prices have not been stable, a development that has affected their daily business operations, as sales have significantly declined compared to recent weeks.
We are selling a bucket of maize at 5,500 Malawi kwacha and a 50-kilogram bag at 55,000 Malawi kwacha. However, maize prices remain unstable, creating uncertainty in the market. This situation has greatly affected our business as sales have dropped significantly compared to recent weeks. Many customers are finding it difficult to afford maize at the current prices, resulting in reduced demand and lower sales.
A consumer at Mbayan Market, Monica Po, said consumers are unhappy with the rising maize prices, making it increasingly difficult for them to afford the staple food. She said it was better when a 50-kilogram bag was selling at 30,000 kwacha compared to the current price of 50,000 kwacha.
We are not happy with the current maize prices because it is becoming very difficult for us to afford the staple food. It was much better when we were buying a 50-kilogram bag at 30,000 Malawi kwacha, but now the same bag is selling at 50,000 Malawi kwacha.
In Mwanza district, Lodrick Mwihosa, who is a maize trader who also operates in Mulanje, said that the maize business is not doing very well because now they are ordering a bag of maize at 47,000 kwacha and they are selling it at 55,000 kwacha, and many people are failing to buy the maize.
The maize business is not doing very well at the moment because we are buying a 50-kilogram bag at 47,000 kwacha and selling it at 55,000 kwacha. Many people are failing to buy the maize due to the high prices, and this has negatively affected our sales.
Another agro-dealer at Mchesi Market in Lilongwe, Elizabeth Manola, said that they are selling a 50 kg bag of maize at 50,000 and the maize prices have not been stable for the recent weeks. Manola said she thinks the rise is due to the keeping of maize by farmers, waiting to sell it at a higher price later.
We are currently selling a 50-kilogram bag of maize at 50,000 kwacha, and the maize prices have not been stable in recent weeks. I believe one of the reasons for the price increase is that farmers are keeping their maize and waiting to sell it later at higher prices.
On her part, Grain Traders Association of Malawi President Grace Mijigamuhango says the recent rise in maize prices is largely due to seasonal price patterns, increased demand, and competition from NFRA and buyers from East Africa, particularly Kenya and Rwanda. She recommends that government institutions such as ADMAC and NFRA buy maize area between May and July when supplies are more abundant, while promoting contract farming as a long-term solution to the price instability. Grace Mijigamuhango.
We've also seen a few people from East Africa, mostly Kenya and Rwanda, coming on the market. So it looks like there is those two competing markets. So as a result, people fight for the product, and the prices normally go a little bit higher.
Speaking with Luntha TV agriculture expert Renard Chimwaza, says Malawi needs to address high post-harvest losses and raw productivity by improving access to affordable inputs, promoting soil fertility management, and expanding irrigation to increase maize production and ensure adequate supplies through.
Basically, we just need to be prudent in the agricultural productivity. We are not producing enough per unit area. Even if we can have good seed, fertilizer, but if we are not doing good in productivity, then we can't be able as a country to be producing enough to suffice the whole year in as far as maize consumption is concerned. So we need to make sure that we have good supply and of fertilizer that is affordable and available.
Citing increased demand from neighboring countries such as Mozambique and Zambia, where maize prices are higher, economic expert Chris Mbukwa has called on government to provide more resources to ADMAC and NFRA to buy maize when it is readily available and invest in irrigation to safeguard future suppliers, particularly in case of poor harvests.
Other reports are just pointing to the fact that the NFRA is buying maize, but they are not buying a lot of it. Probably one of the reasons is that most traders are actually keeping maize. They are not selling the maize because the price that is being offered is not actually competitive to many traders. ADMAC is the same. They are, yes, buying maize, but still not many people are going to them because the price is not that competitive.
On its part, the Ministry of Agriculture said it needed more time to respond to the questionnaire on the causes of the rising maize prices and the government interventions to stabilize the market. For Luntha News, in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
That item concludes our edition of the news. Before we go, another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges legislators to ensure artificial intelligence protects human rights and dignity. Namiwa granted bail as High Court sets September 8th for commencement of full trial. Human Rights Consultative Committee brass abuse of property seizure laws calls for review. And in our special report this week, Gift Kalonga examines the cause of recent rise in maize prices, its impact on consumers and traders, and measures stakeholders suggest should be taken to achieve long-term stability. My name is Father Josombe. Many thanks for watching and goodbye.